You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rodrance for our Black and White Sports. We're going to talk about the Olympic Winter Games and the, of course, historically awful television ratings associated with them. And we're also going to touch a little bit on exactly how much NBC has had to plummet ad rates for the Winter Games. Now, they're trying to do some colorful adjusting involving hoping to make their money back because they have the Super Bowl this year. But as far as the Olympics go, it's a train wreck. It's an absolute train wreck. And nobody is really trying to cover it up, although the Bloomberg article that we look at never actually mentions China. So we know how that goes. Bloomberg's going to cover NBC's butt. NBC on track for the lowest rated Winter Olympics in American television history. NBC's Mike Tirico began Friday's opening ceremonies by saying, just over 6 months ago in Tokyo, we were about to embark on an Olympics unlike any other. Now we're about to top that. In the case of ratings, though, topping that was meant producing record lows. Through the first 4 nights of competition, NBC is on track for the lowest Winter Games in history. Friday night's coverage on NBC, USA Network, and Peacock averaged 12.8 million viewers, down significantly from 27.8 million in South Korea 4 years ago. Thursday night's audience of 8 million marks the smallest primetime Olympics audience on record, surpassing the 9 million that tune in for the closing ceremony of the Tokyo Games. NBC saw a steady increase in viewers Saturday and Sunday night, but the ratings are down more than half compared to South Korea. Preliminary figures from Saturday show 13.6 and 13.7 million on Saturday and Sunday. The numbers are stark, but not a surprise. Strained relationships between United States and China due to economic and human rights issues, another Olympics held during the COVID pandemic, and the lack of buzz coming into the games have significant factors. Quote, there are a whole range of subliminal factors that are negatives when it comes to the event in China. Neil Pilson, the former president of CBS Sports, who now runs his own sports television consulting company, it just adds to the obvious issues and leads to the American public being not interested in the games this year. The 2018 South Korean Games marked the first time since 2006 that no night averaged at least 30 million viewers. Last year's Tokyo Olympics averaged above 20 million viewers only 1 out of 17 nights. It produced the 9 smallest Summer Games primetime audiences going back to 92. Tokyo also marked the first time the preceding Winter Games averaged a higher audience. Beijing also marks the first time since 1992 that 2 Olympics are taking place only 6 months apart. Quote, the sky is definitely not falling. Yes, we have run into a bunch of bad factors that have made it harder for us, but most importantly, we had realistic views on audiences we were going to deliver, and we are delivering what we promised to the marketing community, NBC Universal Television Chairman Mark Lazarus said. But our trend line is pretty good. Our ratings have gone up the last 3 days. We are feeling that America is finding the Olympics. No, they're not. Let's not get confused. Now, let's go over to Bloomberg. NBC anticipated about 40% fewer viewers than 4 years ago and cut its ad rates by a similar amount, according to people familiar with the matter. The network was trying to avoid what happened during the Tokyo Games last summer when the ratings fell below what it had guaranteed. That hurt NBC's potential revenue because the broadcaster had to give additional commercial time to advertisers to make up for the shortfall. So far this year, the Olympic viewership is roughly on par with what it promised, said Adam Schwartz, director of sports media at Horizon Media. Do I want the ratings to be down 40%? Absolutely not, said Schwartz. But clients bought commercial time during the games. But I don't think it's cause for panic about the Olympics whatsoever. And that's what guys like this are always going to say to try to cover their A's, right? But it's funny. NBC had to slash their advertising rates by 40%. Why? Because the Olympics was going to China. We know why. Many Americans decided, we're not going to watch these games. We're not going to support it. A lot of us felt like the United States and several other countries should have boycotted these games in full due to all the human rights issues. The things like Enes Kanter Freedom's been bringing up, right? And but it's issues we've known about. It's issues around Nike. And now, look, we've taken aim at some of their sponsors. Visa, Procter & Gamble, Coca-Cola, I believe, is one of their sponsors. People are taking note of who is actually sponsoring these things. We don't want to support these companies that continue to support things going on in China. I think it's hilarious that NBC look, they lost 40% of the money they would have gotten on these games just 4 years ago. Think about that. 40% of the ad revenue is gone. Now, what happened last summer was they went to the advertisers, they charged too much, and next thing you know, NBC was having to give extra ads to make up for lost revenue. Here, they just said, we know we can't get nearly the amount of money because there's not going to be as many people watch. I do give Mike Tirico credit for at least addressing the issues at the beginning of the Olympics, but nonetheless, NBC still agreed to air it. I mean, and if I'm an advertiser with the Super Bowl, I'm none too happy that what they're really trying to do is make up the revenue for Super Bowl ads. Really? We're paying because the Olympics sucked? I wouldn't like that. Would you? I wouldn't. So tell me what you think, black and white sports fans. NBC is taking it bent over right in the pocketbook. Why? Because they just decided to have the Olympics in Beijing, China. This Olympics, the IOC should have moved it. And now we got Russia and the Ukraine participating in the same games right now? Yikes. I mean, really? Peace, I'm out.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.